We just set the world record for Ulduar, 1 hour and 5 minutes. And we're hoping to get sub 1 hour next week, but we're gonna review the run today and see where we can improve, not only on our own performance, but on time as a guild and as a raid. We're gonna try to track where we can save time. We lost a few minutes to some scuff things happening, and we actually got Val'anyr mid-run, sent our Val'anyr enjoyer to go get it, finish the quest, and then summoned him back, so that lost a little bit of time. But none of the above. World record again, none of the above currently, and all of last phase kind of fighting themselves, and now I guess I can say ourselves, for all of the world record speed runs. Now we are about 4 minutes and 9 seconds ahead. The other world record was 1 hour and 6 minutes, and there's some really good runs coming out, but speedruns in Ulduar are starting now. I'm playing the Unholy DK, and I'm frustrated with my own performance and also my DPS, so I was looking at the single target DPS difference just between my current gear, which I have 4 pieces of BIS gear. One of them is Darkmoon Card Greatness. One of them is the tier chest, and the other 2 are some normal pieces. I even actually on here, on the Sims, I said that I have the 25-man shoulders, but I don't. I have 10-man shoulders. But just single target DPS wise, looking at my gear versus BIS gear is 1,100 and 84 DPS. So my character's a little bit under geared. 1,184 DPS single target. That's just whatever. Maybe we'll get lucky in phase 3, but that's just a reference. As for the group composition, we use a Prot Warrior. A lot of people are always wondering what tank is going to be run in the meta speedruns. We love to use Prot Warrior, 2 Holy Paladins, and 1 Disc Priest. So, as everyone knows, or you should know, speedruns start directly on Flame Leviathan death. The fastest way to get out of here is to take the Colossal Forge and turn pass on loot. So right on Flame Leviathan death. Here, let me even just go 1.25 speed. Pull the Molten Colossi and drag them over to Razorscale, and you'll also notice someone in the top corner is running to go pull over on, what is the guy's name? Ignis. Someone's heading over to pull over on Ignis's side. And then we pull the Molten Colossi into Razorscale and start dealing with the Razorscale trash. Now you have at least 1 set of these dwarfs that you get to deal with before you even get any of the trash coming in from Ignis's side. In all honesty, Ignis's side, the mobs run really slow. That's like one of the things. One thing to watch out for also, if you're the person doing the pulling over of the Ignis trash, which is usually the hunter, you can get targeted from the flame debuff that jumps between people from those Molten Colossi. I don't know. And that can kill you. So having someone over that can help heal you is really nice. Getting knocked back there puts you in pretty shitty position, but it doesn't really matter. You want to focus DPS here on the Ragers. Both Ragers want to die first, and then you make sure that if there is a Vicryl, the tall mob, that you don't get hit by them. I don't have diseases up on everything. I should have had diseases up a second earlier on everything, and I'm just making sure not to stand in fire. Switch to Unholy Presence and get ready to fight Razorscale. Dude dies fast. The unholy, or the hardcore speedruns have now killed Razorscale, the actual BWL Razorscale, in hardcore classic with nobody dying. And so that's why that name is stuck in my head, is Razorscale. But Razorscale has a dumb name anyways. Stand in front of the boss when he does his wing buffet so that you can get knocked forward. Always nice. And then just make sure you're moving with the boss. I anti-magic shell here when not in one of the fires. So I try to go get into one of the fires, but I didn't actually optimize my uptime of using AMS and getting into a fire personally. So that's not perfectly ideal. Now we are 7 seconds ahead of the world record at this pace right now. And sprinting over, you already have someone getting ready to pull the boss Ignis. You would like to meet Ignis right here. So the perfect timing would be Ignis is right here. And that's about 6, maybe 7 seconds of movement that could have been optimized. Also, I didn't track the resist of my Plague Strike personally, which is a rookie move. Interesting. Now, one thing that sucks on this boss is when he does his AoE silence, it hits your Gary. To do better, you can summon Gary right after the first AoE silence. Since you're moving the boss a lot at the very beginning, it's probably a much better call. So I would always opt for that if you could. And as a judgment of myself, I don't have Cool Frenzy rolling right now, but I will in a second. There it is. Other than that, our tank kept getting knocked back on Ignis, kind of into a weird position, which makes, if Ignis clips on this little left ledge right here, guys, like this little left ledge, if he clips right here, then if he picks someone up into the slag pot, they're in this weird version of not being LOS of healers, and it can be really intimidating. So that is unfortunate for anyone that happens to. But it does happen. I like to take the hit so you get the dot before AMS to get extra RP. Yeah. But summoning Gargoyle gets silenced. Your Gary is the issue that gets silenced. Once Ignis is dead, in an ideal world, you're usually kind of kiting Ignis, but we're running this week with 7 Warlocks. So our current composition has a ton of Warlocks. Get a new Bone Shield refreshed before you run in. Here we're losing time. So we'll watch this right now. We're 13 seconds ahead, and our single target DPS can be a lot higher. One more time, just from my own gear alone, my character has the worst gear ever. It's over 1,100 DPS, almost 1,200 DPS. But right here, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. 11 seconds of waiting there. And I think there was a death at the end. So we lost time just from the snake right there, right? What you want to do is, in an ideal world, your tank just runs straight in directly towards the boss, hits the boss, and there it is. If you had the chance to do a pre-pot on Ignis, then you could prop pot here, but you probably don't. As a DK, you want to have Gargoyle summoned like right now, which is where my Gary is summoned. In an ideal world, I would also already have Army of the Dead, so you can pump this heart. Armying late is kind of grief because it will taunt the sparks. So you do kind of want to get an army out early. And some people's Gary kind of got summoned late. But it's fine. Psycho's going to way out DPS me, but you can just see me higher than him currently. But he's going to way out DPS me on this fight. From there, one thing that you want to watch out for, everyone, is look at, there's some dead pets here. These are just army pets. That was actually from Lomu. That was the early army pets. You can control where your pets are if they're guardian pets. If you can bring your pet back to yourself if it's on the wrong side. So recall the pet and then send it again. You'll actually, and I ran out too early with that bomb. You'll actually reset your pet on the correct side. You just need to position yourself either on the left or the right side of the boss, and it will adjust. From there, XC is a pretty straightforward fight, although we do have an issue later where the boss turns slightly. I think it's because Phil has to go grab a life spark, and that ends up costing some time because all of the pets reposition. See right here. Okay, all of the pets are going to reposition in a second. That might not be the one. Okay, well, the boss is going to turn for a second, and all of the pets will reposition in a really shitty spot. As that happens, I'm going to get Searing Light. And you see how all of the pets have moved? I need to run out so I don't kill the pets. Which puts a Life Spark in a weird position, but I need to run out, and we get Tantrum at that time. So I should be using IBF also Tantrum is physical damage. If you have Spark and Tantrum at the same time on XT and nothing like you don't have Bloodlust, you're gonna want to bop. I did use Healthstone there to stay safe, but that's kind of a necessary thing realistically. Rogue's pumping here, Snurk pumping here. Snurk is gonna juice himself up to #1 TPS, and if you get Gravity Bomb, it will still go out after this boss dies. In an ideal world, I think the boss dying closer to the exit would be really nice. I don't know if it still would save us time. There's about 6 seconds there waiting for Phil to get in, and even for us to all get into position, where we definitely lose some time right there. So that is another added time. If I go to like a spreadsheet, if I go to a spreadsheet and add up the times, I'm just tracking all of the seconds we really lose. Oh, you know what? It isn't Snurk. It's Take Note. You're right. It is Take Note, actually. That is Take Note and Snurk. Dude, they're so good at Warlock. Pretty much everyone in this guild and none of the above, the rosters of everyone, even in the splits, are honestly, everyone is like one of the best or the best at that class in the game. Also, if you didn't notice, one thing I need to point out, as we're in here, we already have somebody triggering Algalon RP. Algalon RP, anytime there's an RP or stopgap in time, you need to figure out ways to optimize what you're doing during that time. And so that is one thing that is already dealt with, right? We already are, Algalon RP is already done. Algalon will be targetable. There is an Overseer over there. I think in an ideal world, now you'll fight the Overseer while you wait for the RP of like, you still need to like tag him, right? You still need to tag Algalon, and then he takes what, 20 seconds or whatever. So if you could be fighting the Overseer, the last Overseer during that, it would be ideal, as well as maybe fighting that Overseer with these mobs here. So still ahead though. We're 11 seconds ahead. Our XT, our single target DPS is worse than last week, and also I think worse than the earlier raid. Definitely. Now here's some time before we're in on pull. Some people have died, so you need to get food buff up. That's not much of a time loss, but it is still an added time loss. Instead of directly pressing W, pressing W is always going to be huge throughout this raid. Moving forward is always going to be huge. And you can see that, like, just for movement speed, I'm running a Zanza. Swiftness of Zanza, which is always going to be, like, really nice, right? Also, one thing that could be really nice and optimized is potentially, I guess, until you get comets, trinket swaps for certain fights. Definitely getting a lot more usage out of trinkets by being able to use them on other fights. We got really bad RNG here on Iron Council. You actually notice that Iron Council, there's no rune of power for a long time. There's still no rune of power. Wait for it. There is love. Does Zanza override buff? You can't use a flask if you're using Zanza. You can't use a flask, so you use a normal like strength potion or spell damage potion, all of those. But Zanza's really nice. In an ideal world, there's a couple times where you switch off the Zanza and switch it back, right? In an ideal world, if there's like a short, really long fight, a lot of DPS, double rune, nice to snapshot in on Steelbreaker, and Steelbreaker gets absolutely deleted here. I actually should have used Gary 1 earlier, and as well I use Army of the Dead, I think, right here, which is a huge mistake. Army needed to be used earlier. That's just, this boss just gets absolutely deleted. The last one we had a good rune uptime. It's just gone, right? There's 4 seconds left on Gargoyle right there. Now, right after the boss dies, right after combat, you need to toss a soulstone on your main tank so he can instantly resurrect right as he dies, right? Gets rid of the buff as soon as he gets soul stoned, resurrects, and starts speeding. Now, for a little bit of extra time, you can also rocket Bhutan here. But I think with everybody having something like Drums of Speed, then you'll save some time moving into Algalon. The Overseer jumps backwards, which is super grief for us. I don't think there's anything you can do. He chose Phil. I think it was Phil that it chose. There's nothing really to do about that. But in an ideal world, of course, we have triggered the Algalon RP at this time, and people have like a little bit of mana. Now, Algalon just takes some time. Here, this is just waiting. So this is all time lost also. And Phil has no rage whatsoever. So keep in mind, our tank has no rage, has to normal melee Algalon. So threat here is going to be a little bit intimidating. Just make sure everyone's aware here. Threat is going to be intimidating. Getting health stones up for everybody. And straight on to Algabong. Are you saying improved Unholy Presence forever? How come main tank is a warrior and not paladin? Warriors are just great. Warriors are just really good. Psycho here with a 15k opener. Windy had a 16k opener, and the DPS you're actually doing at the beginning here is higher than what you're seeing. Once Psycho gets those last pieces he needs, that's going to be a lot of DPS. Like Sigil is a big item. Comet's Trail is a big item. And Static Haste from the fucking bracers. Those are the items Psycho needs. Those are all big. I don't think anyone's full bis for us, but some guilds have some characters that are full bis, which is kind of juice. But needless to say, Algalon kind of getting destroyed here. There's a relatively new Algalon strat where you can see there's multiple stars here that are low. Oh, here's this is so sketchy. Okay, look at this. Okay, so someone accidentally did damage to one of the stars. Someone did damage to one of the stars that they weren't supposed to. So it was called out to get into the Big Bang really early, or else you're gonna take damage. I personally not accidentally, I was like, oh shit, if I'm taking damage early, I'm gonna AMS. You can't get into the star. You can't get into Big Bang if you have AMS up. So I AMS to not take damage from it. And then I was like, whoa. Took the damage, Hellstone, and move on. So that was a little bit intimidating. Yeah. But so what we do to make sure three of the stars all blow up while we're in that Big Bang, and that's because we have Curse of Dooms assigned to go off on those stars at an exact time. There's a weak aura that does a timer. I think the weak aura is from Noobs. Noobs was really doing it, I think, first. I can't 100% attribute it to them doing it first, but now a lot of guilds are doing Algalon where three of the stars all die while you are down for that Big Bang. And so you don't want to have people doing extra DPS to those stars at the wrong time, right? It's just not useful. Now, the pumpage here on Algabong is going out. People are trying to, if you can, interrupt as many living constellations as you can. Tanking the living constellations inside of the boss is nice because melee can then interrupt. Here, I'm waiting to switch to Unholy Presence, and now get ready to summon your second Gargoyle. You're gonna get a second Gary, guys. Cosmic Smash goes out. Need to get a little bit of runic power. Gary summoned, and wee woo, away we go. On to Gary. Also, mistake from myself on the play here is an early army. Rookie mistake, but I've been playing Frost for the past, I don't know, three weeks, and have been used to doing that, and that is something to note for myself. Absolutely. Now, all of your damage, you want to focus on burning Algalon as fast as possible. The Dark Matters die a lot to passive cleave, but you just want to burn Algalon as he dies. Boom. Now you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 seconds until the RP opens and the gate opens. That is a lot of time here. Obviously, you're going to want to use things like Drums of Speed and such. As a Death Knight, get ahead here so you can pre-summon Army of the Dead and go into Cologarn. Now, Cologarn gets absolutely obliterated by Cologarn just gets deleted. This fight is so fast and so easy to just be over. We're 45 seconds ahead right now of the last world record. And on Cologarn, focus all your DPS on the body. Only switch to the arms whenever he grips people. Wee woo. Obviously, you don't have a potion up. If you get gripped, RIP to your damage, obviously, because you're screwed. It's okay though. Get back in there. My diseases drop for a split second. I go for the pestilence on the disease drop. Rookie mistake. Should have pestilence off the left arm or the right arm. Make sure that your melee, if you're melee, don't be anywhere near the rubble. The rubble will kill you. It is such a waste of time to die to this rubble. The next arm dies and just get ready to move forward. I icebound just in case, and a tank taunts the rubble away and you're moving forward. Now, probably possible to optimize the timers here by pulling instantly if the tanks can get there, but pull the even Stevens on the left into the even Stevens on the right and cleave down all 4 of these at the exact same time. Make sure that none of them get empowered and don't kill one early, or else you're screwing everybody. So just instead of focusing on your own DPS, make sure you get slows out on all of the orbs that spawn. It's more important than having more DPS on these fights, right? Just make sure none of these orbs get there to empower the bosses. And then spread your diseases again. Death and Decay is ready. Should have dropped it. Not really too much of an issue. Actually, good calculation to not drop D&D for Auriaya. Here's where the run goes wrong. Do you sigil swap? I don't have the sigil. I don't have it. I unironically don't have. I have 4 pieces of gear. And one of those pieces of gear is Dark Moon Card Greatness. I don't have any gear. That's where the run goes wrong. Yes, you're right. This is the world record run. And there is a full wipe to Auriaya. Hardest boss in the game. Just let's look at a time. Let's just look at time. Let's look at time lost here. Auriaya pull 2411. And wipe. Hard boss. La. And now we can't deal with Auriaya right now. 26, that's 2 minutes. 26-12, 2 minutes. That fight sucks balls. So, Auriaya, sketchy. Tank's going in again. Following. Sketo's gonna die here. Watch this. Actually, maybe not Sketo. Okay, nobody dies. Maybe Mana Slave dies. No seeds. If you're a Warlock, stop seeding this fight. You're griefing and you're just trying to parse for yourself, but you're not doing damage for the raid. Mana Slave dead. Boom. Battle res on Mana Slave. Phil gets super low. Almost dead there. Almost dead there. Kargera, 22k. DKs have just passive cleave on that fight, and that's literally your job. With like one more Unholy DK, that passive cleave is going to be a lot. Those things are dead way faster. What What's wrong with Seed there? It's not adding more DPS to the boss. The stopgap, the thing that loses you time in any sort of speedrun, Faye dead, also unfortunate. The thing that loses you any sort of time in any sort of speedrun is whatever dies last, right? Whatever dies last. And whatever dies last. All right, here now we also lose time because we got Storming Guardians summoned. Oh, how much time would we say is lost there between boss death and trying to rest? 20 seconds. Moving forward here. All right, there's the pull. It's about 14 seconds realistically. It's 17, but like the movement time. Also, a lot of people get stunned here because we're all noobs and didn't pre-pot. Auriaya. Pre-pot Auriaya if you're gonna move into Hodir, because you need to thap this pull right here. So noob mistake. We all know who did it. Me and like 14 other people. All right. Now here, this pull is actually really intimidating. I think this happens in this pull. It might have happened in the last raid. This pull is really intimidating if you get the other ads early. So, all right. The other ads are in early. No AoE. If you have AoE as your class, don't do it. Don't do it. All right. Now that everything's dead, we're fine. And you move forward. Okay, so that actually happened in the last run. But if you get those together, just kill the big guy, single target, and then let your tanks get threat. Make sure you have tricks assigned, MD assigned, kill the Revenant, and then move on with your life. So that was in the last raid. One thing I should have done though is, and I got knocked back right as I was going to do it, gotten diseases up at the last second to be spread. Although threat was still a little bit sketchy here, so it's better to be safe than anything else. All right. Now, moving on into Hodir. Your job on Hodir, obviously, burn the flash freezes. You're not here to do the damage. Thompson's here to do the damage. Max is here to do the damage. Warlocks are here to do the damage. Cope is here to do the damage. Let's take note in this raid, yes. Flash freeze is done. Everything is out. Disease is up. Now we'll watch as Singed debuff gets stacked up. It is going up. Almost at 25, and the storm clouds are going out. Storm clouds go straight to the casters. And Bloodloose Poggers rooted in here. Love to see it, but not really. But it happens. If you want to pump the most, it's all about your, as an unholy DK, it's all about your Gary. But here, I make the call that some of those mobs are really far away, which is what you should do as a physical DPS. Get out there and help break those out. You can't let debuffs fall for your casters and buffs fall for your casters. They do the damage. You're not here for your damage. You can if you get like great RNG for yourself, but like in an ideal world, that RNG is all on them and you just don't care. Hodir is down about 22 seconds left on the boss, which means obviously you don't get another flash freeze. That is a pretty solid Hodir. Pretty solid Hodir. Now we're in a minute and probably 40 seconds, and then a minute and 38 seconds for Hodir. Very solid. Now we don't have the Even Stevens here because we already pulled them since we had that Auriaya wipe, which means you want to double pull the Ravager packs and go directly into Thorim, which does save damage. Yeah, Ellie top DPS. We didn't have anyone that popped off really hard, so no one got really good RNG here. Kiting these down, most of the damage on the Ravagers. There is this stacking debuff that the tank can get. You can get rid of the stacking debuff. There is a way to do it. I'm not going to call out exactly how that's done yet, but you can do it. Yeah, Hodir RNG was meh for casters. Yeah, our DPS, it was like all of the casters had like pretty solid, you know, like every caster's at like 20k, and that's why it was good, but like none of the casters had like great DPS. instantly pulling this and starting kill this. Lose a little bit of time by that moving away and not dying instantly with everything else, so you can start triggering the boss. Thorim, phase 1. You don't need to watch it. It is time gated. If there was something to do here, that would be the optimal, right? If there's something a way to optimize this would be like maybe fighting those other ads while fighting Hodir phase 1. Maybe. But those ads can be intimidating with their stack and debuff and such, right? But definitely there might be ways to optimize this. I could honestly see a way where we have a hunter pet outside that pulls in not the even Stevens, but like could half of the raid kill the even Stevens? I don't know. I think you could hunter pull something. Maybe lashers, yeah. You could definitely hunter pull something. I think there's a way that we could hunter pet pull into here. Which would mean we have to... Hunter pet does some sort of pulling within this fight by itself right now, but I think you could change that up and use a different type of pet to do it. So you could get some Freya trash. You could. I think that would... It would definitely optimize this fight. Obviously, get into Unholy Presence. I have 9 seconds left on my Darkmoon card Greatness proccing. As an idiot, I don't wait. Real rookie move as a Death Knight. Literally, it was 9 seconds. Wait and then summon Gary. Come on, what are you doing, bro? Okay. Pull Freya into Thorim room. be the Giga Chad, dude. Yeah. Pull Auriaya into Thorim Rune and then she jumps and kills everybody. That fight just sucks, dude. Auriaya sucks. But you know what fight actually sucks? General Vezax. We all know. Where are you on the damage meters? I'm not on the damage meters. I have no gear on an Unholy DK, which is a gear reliant class. Heavily gear reliant on single target. Yeah, Nord, I was looking at it. I'm 1194 DPS is how much I'm missing in gear. Any upgrades today? No, unfortunately, no. I don't even have 25-man tier shoulders. That's how unlucky I've been. Rocket Bootin, Thorim's dead, Rocket Bootin, and move on. Easy to blame gear? Yeah, it is. It is super easy to blame gear, because that's literally a thing. I'm gonna ban you. Because you don't understand the game, and you obviously suck, so goodbye. It is very easy to ban gear. I could probably do more on overall damage, to be honest, if I'm Frost. 2 weeks ago, I got rank 1 overall damage on Frost in the world. But we need single target DPS is the thing for Unholies. That's the point. So I'm sitting here with like 4-set, 10-man 4-set, a lot of it. Here, this is scary. I spread disease at the end and move on to the next pack. You're gonna pull aggro here 100%. If you do this, I see I have aggro, so I run through to the other side of the tank, but it's not worth it to even spread diseases there. It's just let all of the DPS or all of the threat come to the tank. Don't attack those lashers at all. We have a really bad pat here from the boss, really bad, which loses us time for sure. The boss should be pulled right here, right? So 39-13, but there's nothing you can do. There's literally, you're screwed. The boss is giga far off in Narnia, and now the boss is pulled 12 seconds later. That's pure RNG. That's pure RNG. So unfortunate there. Just make sure you have interrupts, DPS on the Snap Lasher. Get off the Water Spirit. My threat gets a little high. Make sure you have your interrupts, but that's it. Kill whichever one's high. After you kill all of these guys, you can move the boss a lot because it takes a while for him to spawn, or for her to spawn any of the other ads. Iron Roots get wrecked. Takes a while for her to spawn any other ads, so you're gonna run away and pull the boss towards the position you would prefer her to be in. Ancient Conservator. In an ideal world, you could Gary here. Honestly, it's not worth it to Gary here. You should Gary at the end of this fight. The fight's not long enough anymore. You should Gary at the end, because Garying there was like 4 seconds of Gargoyle attacking and then her doing her AoE silence, which also you should be tracking, which is a mistake of my own play on this fight today, honestly. To Gargoyle there and not later. So that is something that should not be done. Instantly army if you're assigned to army. Get diseases spread and get the fuck out. And get the fuck out of there. Very clean phase on Freya. Now it's just dealing with the next phases. Same thing. This is nice. You get the ancient water spirits. This is nice. Anything else other than the big guy is nice here right now. Right now. Because this means hopefully you get the big guy next. The big guy next. And if you do, that means you are going to be zugging the boss, which means Gargoyle would be ideal. So now DPS on the boss in hopes that you get the Ancient Conservator, the big guy, so that you can get the 25% damage buff and you'll just zug through it. Make sure you have Mortal Strike up on Freya and ignore the Conservator. Like, that's not where your DPS needs to be. Make sure you play safe, Bloodlust, send it, and go. Here's where you zoom and pump down Freya. Yeah, any mushroom enjoyers in the house. This tree should be passively cleaved. Also, range should be able to get it. Like the hunter can nuke down that tree pretty easily and pretty fast. I try to help with roots until I get silenced. Probably not necessary. It's not really your job as an Unholy DK to deal with roots. So, shouldn't have really dealt with that. But trying to help. Freya goes down before she summons the next wave of ads. And moving on to Mimiron. Obviously, every speedrun or every real run, even GDKPs, are usually having someone do the Mimiron skip. You do it while you're dealing with Auriaya. So the Mimiron skip is already done. Here, we lose a lot of time to people being behind. There was a call out that a couple people didn't have Rocket Bootin, which needed to be used earlier. So if you don't have Rocket Bootin, it is what it is. I think in the earlier run, some people might have not been in the room all the way on trigger. That might have been last week, or it might have been yesterday. It might have been yesterday. Either way, in on Mimiron, time for the Mimiron, the pump. Yeah. Is this more spec unholy? Yes. Yes, it is. Shocoblastu and run back in. Obviously, whenever Shock Blast happens, run the way the tank is going. Essentially, the tank will run back to the boss, but it just helps you have higher uptime on this boss. And nice disease, you dum-dum, and boom. And I ran this way, but we decided that we want to drop the fires the other direction. So we go for it this way. 14 seconds of fires, not worth it to run through them then. Just run all the way around. Freya we lost a lot of time between Freya because of her positioning. Moving to Freya, we lost time. Yeah. We lost a lot of time, but that's pure RNG, right? We lost time in other places more so. Obviously. I mean, wiping to Auriaya is... It was 2 minutes and like 2 minutes and 2 seconds till we get the next pull off. That's a time loss. Yeah. Let's just be honest. My Gary dies here super fast, which actually, let's look at where my Gary's dead. My Gary dies With 13 seconds left. Half of the gargoyle. Ramp. Sag boys. Psycho's Gary dies a little bit after. Did we do Algalon? Yeah, you do Algalon as you're running past it in a speedrun. You can't go back to Algalon. It's a huge waste of time. Yeah, there's no point. Yeah, we don't Discord is very calm and very clear in a speedrun. In any of the top speedrun guilds, for the most part at least, I think, is Discord being really like clear and concise and everyone just doing your job is all that matters. If things go wrong, you can just recover. That's all that matters. Things go wrong, just recover. Instantly stun the first assault bot, but make sure slows are up. In an ideal world, spread diseases. Also have DPS killing these fire bots. Those fire bots should have like dots and people killing them back there. Really, really good place for the boss right now, so dropping it right away is ideal. I should grip this junk bot closer to the boss so that I can get diseases up with one pesty. Now we get a really unlucky fire, which hurts, and I need to get a slow up on this guy. Boom. And now just chain. Spread your diseases here so that it can kill everything. Chain again. And try to, in an ideal world, I would have dropped a D&D on those firebots because those firebots needed to take more damage, but other people dealt with them really quickly. But in an ideal world, I would have noticed those firebots over there and I would have dropped a D&D on them. Yeah. Yeah, we have our, if you can, you could Gary like twice. And that would be Garying phase 1 and then phase 4, really? We like... I think we get to do it also here, phase 2 and phase 4, but I think in an ideal world, you would do phase 1 and then Bloodlust in phase 4 and do it in phase 4. Phase 2, your gargoyle a lot of the times will die. It can be very RNG if Gary's gonna get absolutely clapped. Also, you could move out and then drop the Gary so it doesn't get hit with a haste debuff also. So there's a few things you could do to min-max the gargoyle in phase 2. Here, just make sure you get the kill. Everyone switch to your rocket bootins and make sure you don't trigger any of these bad boys. Also, this is where we got our Valinir. Valinir just dropped. Therefore, we are sending our Holy Paladin, who got Valinir, off to do his mission of questing. Congratulations. So, here we move on. Rocket Bootin, I swapped my Rocket Bootin slightly slow. They're about to pop off. Boom, boom. I think we lose. Nope, Phil moves in directly. All right, Phil moves right in. Don't lose any time here. That's actually really nice. Make sure your DPS focus is on the Slayers. Also, watch out for the whirlwinds and stuff. If the Guardians or the rogue mobs shadow step you, the Twilight Shadow steppers, you'll notice that, actually you can't see it from my POV, but if it happened to take note, which it did in the first run, as they shadow step you, turn around and face them. They can't backstab you anymore. It's like mini PvPing them, and they actually like wait a GCD to backstab you. Anyways, Shadowmourne should go to Unholy Decays. Everybody knows that, so no big deal. And here, keep moving forward. You're also going to see a Giga Brain. I'm just skipping. That run part sucks. Okay. This room can be optimized for sure. There's ways to optimize this room 100%. Also, if you don't want to lose your pet, putting it on stay and follow and switching between those very often while moving between the room has been shown to help. This pet almost goes into the boss. Look at right here. This is This is a pet that didn't get dispelled. It's like a sketchy thing. It's hard to say what to do with that because Unholy Decays can't really get rid of their pet on that fight. I guess you could send your pet to stay outside, but Warlocks could not send their pets. That's the Nord pet. It wasn't into a wall arrow. There's an invisible wall above those, like lamp posts have invisible walls above them. You can't jump over them. Here, big damage. You obviously see Infernals coming out also because kill this faster, move faster. Kill fast, move fast. Another thing that I think really saves us time this week is our Yogg which is so sketchy. You guys will see it in a minute. Our Yogg is very sketchy, but it does save time. So sketchy. It's just the damage you get from gear during I'm a broken record right now, hard copium, but during a burst phase is where like the damage can be huge too, right? And our Yogg brain is scary this week. Our Yogg brain is scary this week. Okay. All right. Faceless Horror. Wee woo. Boom. It's dead. Move on. A lot of people are going to take damage here. And I should have tried to call it out. Look at this. Nord! Nord gets scary, but it happens. I should have called that out. I saw it coming really slow and I should have called it out. But I was nervous to say anything, as is tradition. Just wait till Warlocks get Bloodvine, guys. Wait till Warlocks get Bloodvine. And now we're on to General Vezax. This is the most lame fight in the history of the world, of the game, of the world. This fight's lame. I'm sorry. But I love this raid. I love this raid as a speedrunning raid. It's very enjoyable. But General Vezax, you're just going to get down here. Watch. Make sure you're interrupting. Just make sure you're interrupting. And now you have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes. And you're like, all right, everyone chill. There's got to be a way to deal with maybe the little trash. But you can't pull the big ads on this fight because they drain your mana, which would just screw you. So there's got to be some. I think Blizzard, to be honest, if they want to show support for the speedrunning scene, they have to do something with this fight, and I would think they might do that. I think they might. Yeah, I think they might do something. Yeah. Top 3 speedrun raids so far? What do you mean? This is world record. Even though we wiped and lost 2 minutes on Auriaya. Yeah. Everybody wipes their Auriaya. It's the hardest boss. Don't you know? And now we're just sitting here. It got healed a little bit, so we bring it back down to 5%, and now it's just sit here and interrupt. Oh, top 3 raids. Yeah, okay, there we go. Sorry. Yes, absolutely. I think Ulduar is honestly one of the best raids. I think Ulduar is amazing raid for speedrunning. I like that Warcraft Logs supported starting the speedrun timer right after Flame Leviathan dies, because that would have been grief. And also, the only thing that's grief still is General Vezax, right? Like having a time gated thing that you can't optimize around is unfortunate. There's always been time gated things in a lot of the raids, but what you do is you try to deal with other trash while you're doing the time gated thing. But if you can't optimize around it, then it's like then it's like not a fun mechanic, I guess would be the way of saying it, right? Like if you can optimize around it, it's fun because it's like, oh, what if you pull this during? But if there's like, but also you pull the mobs that reduce your mana while you're doing it because you don't need mana during this time. I mean, technically it probably could be possible if you run another DK. There's a lot of guilds that are running speedrunning, Telex. A lot of guilds that are running speedrunning. Yeah. You guys get general past 5%? Not really. Like parses don't matter, right? Parses don't matter. The only thing is speed. This is a sketchy phase 1. This is a sketchy phase 1 here, guys, of Yogg. So overall for the guild, parses don't matter. Your damage matters more so, but it's more of like right now it's like make sure you're doing everything right, and doing everything to help the raid, even if it griefs your damage. Super sketchy phase 1. We tried a new strategy here. Look at this, 3 deaths already. Sketo almost dead. Mana Slave, Holy Palace Way, Stealthy dead. Stealthy reses himself, obviously. And then we have our 2 battle reses for Holy Palace Way and Mana Slave. But if Sketo would have died there too, oof. Flask is nice early in this fight, or sorry, Zanza's nice early in this fight, and then it's nice to swap to Flask as you're getting on the brain, which I was more focused in, but it's a slight DPS increase. All right. Also, always make sure you set focus on Sarah so you know who she's casting her blessing on. Stealthy's getting this blessing, so Stealthy gets out, so you don't just get exploded and die. One Yogg-Saron Guardian did die outside of damaging the boss, which lost us time too. I guess I could go back and track how much time that lost. But having a Swiftness Zanza can be nice for, really nice for the brain room if you get a bad brain room. Which is a little bit more RNG also on which brain room you get, which we actually lose time. Watch this brain room. Once we get to the brain room portal, I'll slow down the time. It is scary. You gain time due to multiple ads spawn. Yeah, but we lost time because we missed one ad dying. So you always spawn multiple ads. To save time on phase 1, you purposely trigger multiple ads. But one ad died outside of the group, which is unfortunate. Now it's like get near your portal position. And let's go. Get near your portal position. Notice who's beside you. Say wee woo, wee woo. Boom, click, go. All right, watch this. That's where we're slow. That's where we're slow. Only one person went to the back. Only one person went directly to the back. Now look at this. Look at the time loss. We can't rocket boots in here. This is where I should switch to Flask, right? You're popping everything. You're arming up the dead. You're Garying everything now. Everyone up top, run away from the center so you don't get like the center of Yogg-Saron, so you don't accidentally get bloodlusted. And now this is where things get sketchy. This is where things get sketchy. Map shows 3, yeah, because I paused it after they made it there. I paused it after they made it there, right? Okay, here's where things get sketchy. Look at the art. All right, 7.5 seconds, 38%. The call list is made to stay. Stay, everybody stay, everybody stay. We push, we push. Some people are running away. I'm like, fuck that, we're staying. If I'm dead, I'm dead. Oh, we made it. We made it. Here, Wendy, do you know the way to optimize getting your pet out of down below? Or is it just kill your pet, dismiss your pet, and resummon? I'm gonna dismiss my pet right now. You'll see it in a second. Dismiss, resummon. Do you have a... I'll make a macro, I guess, for it if you don't have one. All right, dismiss pet and resummoned. I don't have one. I think we should all... Yeah. Just have like a, yeah. If you run out of the water for a second, does your pet get out? Are you sure? If you still have rocket boots, but you ideally don't have rocket boots, then I don't know if it's worth it, the downtime of you DPSing the boss, then instantly dismissing and resummoning. Like, you could resummon while you're getting knocked out. Also, while you're getting knocked out, hit the boss with a Plague Strike. Like, turn around and hit it with a Plague Strike, because you can hit it with Icy Touch as from range, right? And there it is. World record.